I actually forgot about this one until I saw this question. Hello you, welcome back. My name's Angie Twari. Today I'm going through pregnancy Q&A. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, go ahead and do that now, because on Instagram I put a little question box a real while ago. So I have to apologise for anyone who asked a question.
It's been some time.
But I'm a new mum, so that's the excuse here. I had a load of questions come through. I've got them saved on here and we're going to go through them today. So let's get straight into it. First one. Is coffee in pregnancy a no-go, or is it acceptable to drink? It's an interesting one. I heard from loads of people that you should absolutely not drink coffee, you're not allowed to. What was interesting is as soon as I hit the first trimester, coffee was not appealing to me. That stayed like the entirety of my pregnancy. I was not interested in coffee. The smell of coffee in the morning my first trimester,
I just wanted to be sick.
it just smelled disgusting. Actually, way back when, like before I was pregnant, coffee in the morning, because my husband basically gets the coffee beans and then he grinds them himself and then he makes fresh coffee, so it just smells amazing. As soon as I got pregnant, I was like, this is the most disgusting smell in the world. That just made me not want to drink coffee. But you can have maximum 3 cups of coffee a day. That's what the guidelines say. 200 mg of caffeine. 1 shot of espresso is 100 mg, and 1 cup of filter brew coffee is also about 100 mg. So you can basically have 2 or 3 cups and you're fine. I think in the 3rd trimester, I was kind of a bit more like, oh, actually coffee. Would have maybe 1 a day, if that. Whereas pre-pregnancy, I was like a 2 coffee a day kind of gal. I just didn't really want to, but yes, it is safe. If you want to have it, you can absolutely have it. Okay, next question. Can I do normal yoga? I find pregnancy yoga too slow and boring. I honestly completely get this. So I'm a yoga teacher, qualified, Ashtanga yoga, which is really dynamic, really powerful. So like your vinyasas, your power flows, those kind of things. But I also teach restorative and slower practices. And I trained the year before I got pregnant in prenatal pregnancy yoga. And it's so lovely because it focuses on poses that are really good for helping get blood flowing, moving into the area where your baby is. So really getting the blood flowing into that area, getting the oxygen pumping through, getting stretches and movements that help you for your labor and your delivery when you're giving birth, and also just help any tightness and tension that you might feel, because when you're pregnant, your center of gravity changes, you're getting bigger, you are maybe sleeping in a different position, or you're almost definitely sleeping in a different position, so you have aches and pains. So yeah, pregnancy yoga is great for that, but I do totally get this question because I can see how people who do like a really dynamic, challenging, energizing style of movement, let's say yoga in this case, and might not want to go to like a slower practice. What I would say is that slower doesn't necessarily mean boring, which is what this person has put here. Slower can still be really challenging. And yes, there are certain things that you shouldn't do. So in pregnancy yoga, obviously they would never teach you a plank pose or chaturanga dandasana. So part of your surya namaskar, part of your sun salutations, you wouldn't do that part. Obviously you wouldn't do any poses where you're lying on your belly
because you've got a massive bump in the way.
So there are some things that are pretty obvious, but you can absolutely still go to a dynamic, energizing yoga practice, taking it in your own time, giving your body lots of breath to cope with each pose, and skipping out the poses like the planks, instead taking an option like a child's pose or taking any other variation that feels a little bit more restful to you. Dropping down to your knees so you're still getting upper body strength in is a really nice alternative. Even though I'm pregnancy yoga qualified, I actually didn't do any pregnancy yoga classes during my pregnancy. I went to energizing vinyasa, dynamic vinyasa to keep my body moving. I also taught all the way through my pregnancy until I was 37 weeks. I gave birth at 38 weeks. So, you know, you can absolutely still do loads of poses. I would say really good ones to do if you're wanting to do yoga but not strictly pregnancy yoga. I would say definitely incorporate a yogi squat, malasana, get squatting. That is so, so good. Deep lunges, so your lizard poses are really good. Pigeon pose to keep your hips nice and open to release any tightness and tension there, and to also ease off lower back pain because that can come in pregnancy. And then simple things like doing twists in your wrists, so circling your wrists, circling your ankles, things like that. You may get fluidity build up in your ankles or your wrists. I personally luckily didn't, but some people do balloon in their wrists and they have to take their jewelry off, or their feet get really swollen. So keeping everything moving, you want to think about getting the circulation moving. As long as you're moving, just look after yourself. And most importantly, if you are not going to go to prenatal yoga, your teacher might not know what to guide you in and out of. So do your own research to keep yourself safe rather than relying on the teacher. Because if you've gone to a dynamic vinyasa, you can't expect that that teacher is necessarily pregnancy yoga qualified. So make sure that you're doing your own research, keeping yourself safe, and being in tune, listening to your body and see how it feels for you in that moment, because every day is different and you know your body way better than anyone else. Any tips for less leg cramps at night? They've been awful. Yeah, I had horrendous leg cramps. I did do a lot of yoga for this, but also magnesium completely saved me. So a magnesium supplement daily, you can take it. It's safe to take when you're pregnant. Absolutely saved me from the nighttime leg cramps, but also before bed, just doing some gentle calf stretches on my bed was a really good way as well to avoid that. So again, keep the body moving, keep everything flowing, keep it nice and fluid and floaty, and take your magnesium supplements. Okay, prenatal yoga tips. Never done yoga before, but GP recommended. Yeah, so I love this because your doctors will actually recommend yoga to you, or your midwife will recommend yoga to you when you're pregnant, which is just the best. Obviously, I'd say that as a yoga teacher, but yoga was completely life-changing for me in so many ways, and is so incredible for the body, not only to get everything moving and get your body back into a state of balance, but to get your mindset to be clearer, more focused, calmer, and also just to have a deeper connection within yourself, so you're less caught up in like the drama of life and like,
she said that and he did this and da 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 da.
and you're much more likely to be, you're actually a lot less sensitive, I think, when you practice yoga and meditate, because you're just like a bit more chill with everything. Natal yoga tips, kind of like what I said, low lunges, ankle and wrist circles, deep squats, and I would also say shoulder rolls when you're seated. So when you're on your sofa and you can't be able to get up and do yoga, that's fine. Incorporating it by doing rolls on the shoulders to the back, to the front, up to the ears, dropping it down, and incorporating your pranayama, your breathing techniques. So a deep belly breath is a really nice way to stay nice and calm and soothed. If you're interested in breathing techniques, I've popped a video up here, which is 5 breathing techniques that I did throughout my pregnancy, labor and birth, because there are so many different ways you can alter your breath to help you really have a dreamy labor and a like panic-free experience, which is what I luckily managed to have. I put that down to my mindset, affirmations, and breathing techniques. So definitely employ some of those. And that's also yoga, right? We think yoga is just movement, but no, mindset, breath, all of that is such a big part of it as well. For snacks during pregnancy, PS huge congrats on your gorgeous baby. Thank you. He is very gorgeous. First trimester, it was just like beige food, beige food, beige food. It was like potatoes, chips. I literally was just obsessed with chips, noodles, anything brown I wanted. Salty, like Snack Jacks, just rice crackers, everything. That was a snack because it was more of meals. But yeah, any carb, savory related snacks. Whereas I used to be more sweet kind of person. I'm still sweet, but I used to like sweet stuff, and then I was very savory in my first trimester. And then I think into my third trimester, I went back into like wanting sweet stuff, but mostly it was savory. It was like big bags of crisps and that kind of stuff. Also, I'd never have ice in my drinks before. Like,
No.
I would literally refuse drinks unless it had like the entire ice cube tray full of ice and then a cold drink. So that was, again, not really a snack, but it was a craving that I definitely had, and I had that throughout. What else have we got here? What would you recommend to eat and drink during labor? I made a load of like high energy snack bars. So things like peanut butter oat cups, clean ingredients. I made them myself. I bulk made loads of things. Things like dates with peanut butter stuffed and then covered in chocolate in the freezer. So loads of like snacks like that would be high energy for labor. I fed one by my husband like in the middle of my labor, and I was like,
I do not want that.
that is gross, get it away from me. So I actually didn't eat at all during my labor. First contraction started at like 3:50 a.m. in the morning, and I gave birth at 1:57 a.m. the next day. So I didn't eat at all in that time. I wasn't hungry, but I put this down to what I drank. Loads of water, coconut water. So I bulk bought a load of coconut water, and then I made a drink, which is from the first 40 days book. I will link it below. It's an amazing drink. It's called Ginger Switchel. It's basically a natural electrolyte drink. I made it all myself. I batch made everything, and it was so funny because I made 3 batches of it. And my third batch, I was like, this is the best batch. Like, I've got it down. The first batch was too salty. The second batch was not salty enough. The third batch, I was like, this is perfect. This is it. And then that was the week that I gave birth. So I'm so glad I had loads of that. And it was basically, it's a mix of like honey, apple cider vinegar, so honey for your sweetness, and then salts, water, warm water, what else? Ginger. And it was really delicious. It kind of tasted like a ginger beer situation, but way less sugary and like way less processed sugar as well, which makes a big difference. So that was great. I also would say that when I was in labour personally, I loved switching between the water, the coconut water and the ginger switchel. Felt like the ginger switchel was a little bit sweet. Well, it was sweeter compared to the water and the coconut water, of course. It was a nice difference but then I wouldn't have been able to just drink that. It would have been too sweet for me. So then I would have been like, no, I need water. Or like, then I was bored of water and then I wanted coconut water. So I stayed really hydrated throughout. And obviously I must have got all my salts and sugars from the ginger switchel that I had made instead of any food. But, you know, everyone's different. So I would definitely say prep food because you might want it. You don't know what you're going to want to eat, or whether you're going to want to eat, or whether you're not going to eat anything. So be prepared is the moral of the story. Okay, why did you choose to eat your placenta? I don't want to bin it, but I feel sick at the idea. I totally get that. I also used to think about people who ate their placenta and was like,
What the hell?
I'm going to make another video about eating my placenta because I know it's kind of quite a controversial thing to do. So I birthed my baby, then I birthed the placenta, I picked the placenta up, then they take the placenta away. So we were in a birth center, they take it away to check that it's intact basically, because they want to make sure there's no placenta that's left in you. Yeah, I decided I wanted to eat it before, so I knew that's what I was going to do. So we took it home and I ate it. And the reason why I ate it, and I'll go into this in the video that I make, so stay tuned for that. It'll be in this pregnancy postnatal baby playlist. Basically, the reason is I didn't want to put it in the bin, like you said, as medical waste. That just felt wrong. I'd literally grown this incredible organ to grow alongside my baby. I called it my baby's best mate. I didn't want to bin it, but I also didn't want to plant it under a tree or plant it in the garden because I live in London and I was convinced that foxes would dig it up. And then I was left with basically either consuming it or sending it to, there are these companies that will like convert it into pills or jelly sweets. And I didn't want to do that because I was like, who's then touching it? Or what if they get it mixed up with someone else's placenta and then I'm literally eating someone else's placenta and that makes me feel even more sick. I didn't actually feel sick at the idea of eating my own placenta. I was very excited to do it. I'm really happy that I did it and I would absolutely do it again. That's the reason why. There was no other option that felt right to me, but the idea of eating it did feel right to me, even though honestly, if you told me I was going to do that like 2 years ago, I would have been like,
what? That's gross. No.
You're not. Like, no. But hey, I did. And I'm here to tell the tale. So I'll make a whole video on that because it was interesting. I'm going to do one more. Struggles with your body not feeling like your own, either in pregnancy or postpartum. I totally get this question. Like, I totally understand it. I'm really fortunate and lucky to say I never felt like it wasn't my body. I always felt connected to it. Now, I probably put that down to doing a lot of work. I said this in other videos, I was pregnant from August through till April. So over the Christmas period, I could have very easily just like covered up, not seen my body, be in cozies all day, every day. And I was in cozies all day, every day, pretty much. But every day, every single day of my pregnancy, when I didn't really have much of a bump to having a full-blown bump ready to give birth, I would massage my body. Now, this is an ancient Ayurvedic practice, which is known as Abhyanga, self-massage with oil. It is a practice of self-love. And I really believe that touching my body and seeing it in the mirror, watching it change every single day, made me feel so connected to it and to its beautiful evolution of becoming a mother, essentially. And I think not only did it give me that, and I felt a lot of pride and joy in my body that was changing when I really didn't think I would feel like that, it also made me feel really connected to my baby. Now, what I really wanted to do is not for that to stop once I'd had the baby, because there was almost more respect for this vessel that I'm in that has held life and has created life and then birthed life, as well as birthing the placenta. And I didn't want to stop that self-love practice, so I have continued doing that. I'm going to be honest, it's not every day. I have a newborn. It's a little bit time consuming, but a note within myself to every day put my hands on my tummy. So I hold my stomach, I hold my womb area, and I feel that area, and I feel its change, and I feel it with pride, as opposed to feeling disgust or when am I going to snap back, or I want to do this, or my body's not the same. Of course your body's not the same, you've just given birth. Like, it's just done an incredible thing. And I've really tapped into the respect and the love instead of the fear of the change. And I think that's what it really comes down to. That, of course, you might have feelings of, oh my goodness, my body's changing so much. Like, it doesn't really feel like my body anymore. But I think come back to being astounded and in awe of the incredible thing that your body is doing. And I think actually one thing that helped me do that is to really understand and to learn about what happens when you're pregnant. So all the changes that are happening in your body and how every single organ will move. Every single organ in your body moves to accommodate your growing baby. Your milk ducts come in. I think as soon as you get pregnant, your boobs start changing and your milk ducts start coming in, preparing for the baby. As soon as I got pregnant, that line started growing, like it's like almost like a brown felt tip mark down my tummy. And I was like, the body is incredible and the body does so much that the mind can't even comprehend. So let the body do its thing and try not to be held back by the thoughts that your mind and your conscious, and to be honest, just all these programmed thoughts that have gone into your subconscious are bringing up. Try to let them pass. Feel them, acknowledge them, be with them, stay present with them, but then think about, well, how do I actually want to feel? And you can change how you feel by making the decision that you want to feel a different way. It is really that simple. I think a lot of us forget that. Personally, I didn't, but I did the work to make sure that I didn't, if that makes sense. We'll call it to a close. I don't want to babble on too much, but I hope you enjoyed that Q&A. If you have any postpartum questions or you want a postpartum part 2 to this, then let me know. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It makes a huge difference. And I'll see you again very soon. Bye.